Cheers.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers. It's tough. It's a tough one.
Hi, my name is Jen Farley, and I believe that there is a rock star within all of us. So I'm going on the road and interviewing some people who I think are doing amazing things. I am in Mt Horeb, Wisconsin today at the shop Kella with its owner, Kelly Leschisin. Thank you so much for inviting me to your shop.
Of course. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. I have been an Instagram fan / stalker for a long time.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. And the fact that also we're somewhat neighbors.
Yes.
That's
Random.
kind of
Random world.
Random world. But it works that way sometimes.
I always.
Yes.
I think always.
Yes.
It's a very big yet small place.
Yes, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about how you got started.
When I went to college, wanted to be a business major because I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted something really broad. And I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And I think I'm just going to go with the flow as we write out this thing called life. So I, after college, took a job in an ad agency in Madison, full service ad agency, and got my chops there.
Yeah.
Spent almost a decade there doing all things marketing and advertising, and was on a path that I just wasn't loving anymore, and decided to leave that path. And my husband and I started Kella Design, which was marketing and advertising. Pretty much the same thing, just sort of like controlling our own fate.
Yeah.
And we love our clients and all the things that we do, but we wanted something that we were fully in charge of as far as the creative process, start and finish. And so that's where Forward Apparel started. And so we started our own apparel line, as you can see, which is outdoor focused, Wisconsin focused, reconnecting with nature focused, positive mindset. That's sort of the whole gist of the apparel line. And we started that, and we started just online. Mm-hmm. And then we felt like, you know what, we want to try something different. And that's how Kella became a thing. We wanted to be on a main street that had an old historic downtown. We found this awesome building. It was 150 years old. It needed some love. We love renovation projects. And so we thought, let's do it. And so what we initially thought this place would be is not what this place is today. It's been so much better than we expected.
Oh my gosh.
We expected to work from here and have an agency in the back and a small retail in the front. And honestly, it was so well received that it was sort of the reverse. It's now full retail, and we can't work from here anymore. We really wanted to make sure that we had a place that local artists could feature their items.
Yes.
So we have over 40 artists that have their work in here from the state of Wisconsin. And that's ranging from jewelry to candles to wood art, and some really cool, unique stuff. And we love to tell their story and give them a space to sort of highlight their work. And so that's sort of the shop as a whole.
I mean, I love the fact that you are highlighting other local artists. So what does community mean to you? Why is that so important?
So we were both raised really small town kids. So when we live in Madison, and when we chose Mt Horeb, everyone said, why would you pick Mt Horeb? It's such a small town. And to us, it's not a small town. We truly grew up small town. Different small towns, but very similar. And we really believe in community over competition. And we really love history and we love being a part of something. And actually, really funny story, we were here many years before we ever opened the shop, and we stumbled upon a parade, and our kids were little, and we sat and watched the parade, and we looked around and thought, wow, like this is how we grew up, a community that all gathers, and we were like, we want to be a part of this someday. But community is really, really important to us, and we just think that, you know, the local people have been fantastic here for us. They've really supported our cause. They've really come out and helped us through a pandemic. They've been understanding when we couldn't be open more because of our family. And so, quite honestly, I don't think that you can make it without having the local community support. Without that, it's really tough.
Yeah.
And as small as our shop is, that's our biggest challenge, is the shop is small. And people say, oh, you should move. And it would take a lot for us to leave this town.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you have 2 kids who are fairly young.
Mm-hmm.
What is that like, having, being a working mom, having 3 businesses of your own?
Yeah. It's a lot, but I don't think that my life would be any other way. Quite honestly, I am someone who believes that like life is, you get one shot and fill it up. So it's a lot. Our kids, you know, our daughter wants to work here, and she's 12, and she's already talking about how she's going to work here. And she does know, quite honestly, at this point, she probably could, if I wanted to drive her here. They lived through the renovation of this building, and we have photos of them sitting in here in camping chairs while we're painting and building shelving and, you know, working on the space. And so we've always wanted them to see what hard work looks like and what that means if you do work hard, what that can result in. And so it's a lot. Our kids are really, really active right now. They're at those ages of like just run. But we fortunately have good help here now that's helping us to not be here always. But yeah, it's full.
It's full.
It's full. Mm-hmm. That's what I'd say. Yeah. Our life is full.
What about fullness brings its challenges, and what about fullness brings the joy?
There's a lot of challenges, of course, with fullness. You know, there's one of my mottos is to always say yes. I always say yes. Not to our kids.
See, that would get me into trouble.
Not to our kids. It does get me in trouble. It does.
Yeah.
It does. That does not apply to our children.
Okay.
You know that movie Yes Day?
Yeah.
No, that's not us. But I believe, like, even, you know, when you reached out and said, hey, truly, do I have time? No, but we're never going to have time.
Right.
I don't think that I don't know if you've seen the meme that's like, the biggest lie I tell myself is that my calendar gets better next week.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. I mean, really, there are challenges to always saying yes, but I wouldn't be sitting here with you right now if I hadn't said yes. I wouldn't have met you if I didn't say yes. I tell my kids this too, like, you really don't know where life is going to take you. And by saying yes, I get a chance to sort of have a different outlet. So there are challenges to having it full, right? Everything feels busy and chaotic, but I think that the pros outweigh that. I think that, again, the fullness means that I've met more people, I have more experiences to share, I've been more places, I've done more things, and so those things to me outweigh that, and I'll kill myself trying to fill it up if that's what it takes. Yeah. And so, you know, everybody always says to me when we add something new, well, something's got to give. What are you gonna take off your plate?
Right.
And I am always like, absolutely, I think that's right, but nothing really ever comes off the plate. I just keep heaping those potatoes on, and I'm good. Like
filling up on those carbs.
Oh, God, I love me some potatoes.
Now, the name Kella, that's a combination of your name
and our daughter Ella.
Okay.
Yes. So Kella Design started many, many years ago. And actually, at the time, I was working at my ad agency life, and my husband, Joe, had started that on the side, and it was just sort of a thing he was doing, and he named it Kella Design. And I always joke that, if I had known that the path was going to be that I was going to be a part of that at some point and do that full time, that I wouldn't have allowed him to name it that, because I'm always like, hi, it's Kelly from Kella. And then people think my name is Kella. And even here now with this, people think our name. But our daughter loves it. She thinks it's so awesome.
Yeah.
That she's a part of the name.
I love that she's taken pride in it.
Oh, she loves it. And sometimes when the sun hits the window, the shadow comes and you can't see the K on the floor and it just says Ella. And she's...
Oh, my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she thinks it's really cool.
Own it, Ella.
Now our son is Will, and he is like, what about me?
Like, yeah, what about Will?
Yeah, exactly. We're like, I'm sorry, buddy. It's not that. It's just that you weren't around when that was named.
Yeah.
You weren't there yet.
You weren't there.
Yeah. So
tell me about creativity, because you're talking about play and fun and like, how do you tap into that?
Well, we are marketers at the core, and so our Kella Design business, we help. Over the years, we've helped hundreds of clients. Mm-hmm. And so I think that, we draw inspiration from things that we see that we like. But then also, like, for me, I'm always about, like, never take it too serious. And I think Joe and I make a good pair on this, because he is the guy who, like, wants things perfect. And I believe that perfection is the enemy of progress. I really, really do. I believe that you should put, like, enough thought into it to make sure that it's good and that you're proud of it. But at the same time, like, don't overthink it and don't go down a path that you can't recover from. And so I think that's a large part of creativity, is that if you can have a story to tell about something, then it means that you put some thought into it. Mm-hmm. And so, even with our clients for Kella Design, we have lots of people come to us that are starting new businesses, and they'll say, hey, we need help with the name. And I'm always asking, tell me a story about why this is. Or if we have a client that already has a name, I always ask, well, why did you pick that name, or where did that come from? And so I think that that's a large part of it. And then also, I never want to be too narrow when I'm naming something, and it's a business entity. So when we were starting the apparel line, it was all about Wisconsin, and we wanted to stay focused on Wisconsin. And so we could have picked something that was like, Wisconsin clothing or whatever, right? But I wanted to make sure that we were thinking bigger, that it wasn't too narrow, that if we did at some point want to transition away, which we still have not, that it wasn't so focused. So I was like, okay, well, Forward is the state's motto. Let's go with that. Mm-hmm. Because Forward Apparel can be grown to do whatever, right? It's also, Forward is a really positive outlook mindset, right?
Yeah,
and so, I when it comes to stuff like that, I'm trying to think about, I'm a problem solver. And so I'm constantly thinking about what problems could arise before they arise and trying to avoid them and not allow that to happen.
Do you consider yourself a rock star, and how do you connect with that feeling?
So, quite honestly, one of my biggest downfalls is that I am like a humble, downplay person. Mm-hmm. So when you say that to me, like, do I think, yes, I'm a rock star in the fact that I am juggling. I'm a master juggler. I do a lot of things. I have a full life, right? I mean, you sort of have to be to not have like a mental breakdown.
Right.
But I think that, and all my friends were like, don't say that you're not. And I'm not saying that I'm not, but I think that my biggest rock star thing is that I am able to, and I really push myself to find the rock star in everybody else. And so I'm a coach, and I love finding the rock star in the kids on our team. I'm a mom. I love finding the rock star in our kids. I love finding the rock star in all of these artists.
Yeah, you created a space for them.
Yeah, I love that. I love people. I love helping people. And so I think that that's probably, people come to me all the time, and I'm always boggled. People will ask me for advice on a million different topics. And I always think, why did she ask me? And I think it's just because I truly care and I truly want to help them. And I think they know that I would never give them bad advice, and that because I would never want to see them in a bad spot. And so I think, I'm a rock star in the fact that I want everybody else to be a rock star, and I will do whatever it takes to make sure that happens. And I truly believe that I never believe in competition, which is funny because I used to be an extremely competitive person, like athletically.
Tell me about that.
Well, I really like to win. When, historically that's how I was raised, is we competed. And but when it comes to girl power, lift each other up, lift as you climb, I'm constantly going to be the person that's referring others. I'm constantly going to be the person who is saying, hey, you should reach out to this person. I just believe that there's enough to go around. Yeah. And I, even when we moved into the space, lots of people would say, oh, you should sell X, Y, and Z because they sell it down the way. And we were very conscious of not wanting to do that. We wanted to make sure that we were good neighbors and that we didn't come in and take something that somebody already had claimed. Yeah. And we wanted to make sure that we found a different way to sort of fit in and complement the town versus take from it. Yeah. And so I think that that's sort of my, one of my guiding lights is just be a good person, help others. Yeah.
So my number one favorite question to ask, what is your Rockstar theme song?
Oh, so, lately life has been so full. You asked, right. Well, how is it and I think when you say Rockstar theme song, I think of rock music, and I love all music. And so I really love We're Not Gonna Take It. I think I'm gonna go with that, mostly because truly the chorus of We're Not Gonna Take It, because I believe, as a business owner especially, that we can solve our own problems. Yeah. And I'm not gonna take it. If there's something that I don't like that's happening in my life, business-wise, personally, whatever, the only person who can solve that is me. Especially when you're a business owner. You can't blame your boss. The only person who can be in charge of your success or your failure is myself. Yeah. So I'm sticking with We're Not Gonna Take It, because I truly mean that, if there's something that's not going well, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to be complacent, and I'm just going to try to fix it. And I believe that there's a million different ways to do that. Yeah. And so I'm going to stick with that.
You are a puzzle problem solver. So what's next for your three companies?
Oh, that's
great. Mm-hmm. It seems like you're always thinking, what's the next right step?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's it's almost like a blessing and a curse. Uh-huh. And Joe is a guy who's just never satisfied. A blessing and a curse, right? It continues to make us push and do more, right? I would say for the shop, one of our biggest goals is to make sure that we bring in fresh stuff here all the time. So finding new artists that complement. So another rule that we have, I'm a person who hates rules, but I do have, one rule is that we can't compete with people in town.
So it's not necessarily a rule, but a boundary.
It is a boundary. That's great. Yeah, I like that reshifting of the mindset. It's a boundary. One of the boundaries is that an artist cannot come into the space and compete with someone who is already here. Okay. So we're looking for artists who are different and unique, and a lot of times we're often described as a real life Etsy store. Yeah. So we want artists that complement that idea. And so that's one of the things that we're doing for Forward Apparel. Pandemic life has been a challenge. Yeah. And I think people don't understand that still yet, that people think, oh, the pandemic is over, right? And everything's back to normal. And while that's the truth, it's not necessarily the truth for a lot of industries, even restaurants. Yes, you're open now, but they can't staff, that's right. And they don't have people to work, and they can't get
different normal.
Yeah, and you can't get the supplies you need. And so for Forward Apparel, we're trying to continuously grow the brand and offer more items, and we struggle because we can't get our hands on them right now.
Yeah.
You know, we had someone say to us, oh, I really wish you'd bring in more hats that are female focused, and I've been wanting that for forever as well, but I can't get a hat until this fall. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and or people will say, I want this shirt in this size, and for some reason you can't get that color in smalls. You know, it's sort of that. So for Forward Apparel, we're just really trying to balance that. We're trying to continue to offer new things to our customers, but at the same time, also not overpromise and underdeliver.
Yeah.
Because that is our biggest thing. Again, as a people pleaser, I don't even need to know you, but I need you to be happy. And so if I say that you can have something, you better be able to have it. The thing is we enjoy the things so much when we do them. I mean, this shop people would come in and say, how's it going? And I can honestly say 4 years in, there's very few experiences in life that are all positive or even have some positive. And this one has been pretty much all positive.
Yeah. I mean, like, you've made such an impact on the lives of these artists, on the lives of this community.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that it's...
Well, people just come in, you know, in a marketing and advertising world, sometimes when you work with clients, right, you are just so busy in the thick of it, and there's not a lot of time to stop and appreciate, and you just keep going, right, and you don't celebrate its success. And I think the thing for us with the shop, when we first started, that was so refreshing and honestly good for our souls, was that people would come in and say, wow, this is so cool. You've done such a great job. We love this. This is amazing. And like, you don't get that a lot in life. The shop for us was that time where, you know, you kind of are beaten up from the day-to-day of life, and people come in and say, great job. And you're like, thanks. And like, honestly, one of the things that we talk about a lot now that our lives are even busier and we have more help here is that like we really miss the shop. We feel fulfilled to come out here, and we love visiting with people, and we love gathering people's stories. And again, that's like the marketing side of us, is when people come in, we love to visit with them and learn about them, and we ask a lot of questions. And I think that's the part that we miss the most by not getting to be here as much throughout busy life, right?
Yeah.
Is that we miss that. We also don't get to see, you know, people. One of the things that we loved about starting the apparel and then opening the shop was that as a marketer, we got to see people come in and interact with your product and look, touch, feel, see, provide.
And it's so different than online only.
Correct. Sometimes it's like really fake it till you make it, right? Like you can put out something in the world and it might go really well and it might go really not so well. And with this, it's like a real-time feedback. You put it out there and you get to see. I also truly believe it's funny how the world is shifting to all these digital efforts, right?
Yeah.
And our advertising platforms are really focused on digital. We do a lot of web design and development. And without this shop, I don't believe that Forward Apparel would have grown the way that it has over the last 4 years, because we started it online and it was a slow growth. And we weren't putting a ton of effort and energy into it, to be fair, but the stumble upon factor of people coming in here and seeing it and interacting with it and touching and feeling and trying it on, I don't believe that it was like the push that it needed to keep it alive. But the other two is like, you have to have the willingness to stick it out. You know, like if we had done those first 2 years and seen what happened, we could have easily been like, you know, I don't know, maybe it's too much time and not worth it, and just abandon it and moved on. And there are ideas that we've had that we've done that too, but this was like, you got to stick it out, and I don't know that people are willing to do that.
Yeah.
You know, to get up over the hump.
Yeah.
Because the hump sometimes takes too long.
It does, but sometimes it's worth the climb.
I think, yeah, and a lot of times too, you know, even when we're busy, people are like, oh, you know, do you think you'll survive the shot? Do you think you'll... And I'm always like, why would we not do it? You know? Yeah. We've climbed the hill. Now let's
enjoy the view.
Yeah, let's stay up there. Watch the sunset. Sunsets.
Nice.
Favorite thing in the world. Yeah.
So, Kelly, how can people find you?
So they can find us here. We are located at 118 East Main in Mt Horeb. This is called the Troll Way. The troll capital of the world. They can also find us online at madebykella.com. They can find the apparel at forwardapparel.co. They can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Made by Kella. There's lots of ways.
It's a good follow. It's a really good follow.
Go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I love when people say, I follow you on Instagram. And you know, for anyone who's wondering about social media, it absolutely works because we will post and people will come in and say, I saw this on Instagram. I saw this on Facebook.
Yeah.
And as a marketer, you're like, I'm telling you, it works.
I have to say, like, because of your post on Instagram, I'm a huge fan of the wood flowers.
Oh, yeah. So Hill Valley. And Kristen. So we have lots of her. She's actually coming in here next.
Huge fan.
They're fantastic. They're made of wood. They're fantastic.
Now I follow her.
And yes, of course. And so that's our goal, right? Like we want you to follow the artists and support them. And, you know, the thing that I didn't mention is that when we have an artist who comes in here, the goal is that you see their work. And if you need something custom, instead of coming to us, you go directly to them.
That's amazing.
Right?
So you're not even a middleman. You're just a conduit.
I don't, again, when your life is, I don't have time to be a middleman.
Yeah.
I just want to pass you to the person who can help you best. You know?
Yeah.
You come in, you need something, and I get you to what you need.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much
for
taking a few minutes and sitting down this morning to talk. And
seriously.
The coffee and these mugs are amazing.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers.
I need a refill.
Me too.
Mine is getting cold.
Yeah. That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.